when I went to Derby, I was getting called, you're not fit to wear the shirt. I was made to train with the youth team.
How old were you? What stage of the career?
33, 34. Yep. Listen, Paul Jewell signed me. He thought I was a player I wasn't.
Are you the first person ever they've said you're not fit to wear a Derby shirt? It can't happen very often.
I think the whole team was that year.
It was like,
So
you can give it away, surely.
He's so horrible, isn't he?
Sorry, I've got.
So anyway, talk about comebacks. So I then wasn't good enough. I was the highest paid Derby at Derby, or one of the highest paid. Come from Blackburn, come from being the captain of a Premier League side to then getting relegated in the worst ever side. And the fans had every right. We were rubbish. We were poor. But then the mistake Paul Jewell made, and probably rightly so, my performances, I wasn't good enough. And I let him down because I wasn't a player he thought I was. I was not the one who was running around, making tackles, being effective. I couldn't do it. You know, I was struggling injury-wise. And to be fair to him, I let him down, and I do feel sorry for him. But then that's where it takes a club. This is where I got sympathy with other players.
But sorry, Robbie, it was through no lack of effort, though.
No lack of effort, mate. I was trying my best. Obviously, tried my best, but I couldn't do it. Yeah. So the club had then got a decision to make. Obviously, do they want me off the wage structure because I was highly paid? Yeah. I wasn't going to contribute. So obviously, there's things you can do. You can train with the youth team, which I did. Have it coming in on your days off when the first team are in. Not coming to first team games. I was in.
You're a pariah.
I was a pariah. Yeah, I was shopping on a Saturday afternoon. People, what's that? What's a pariah?
I'm glad you said that, then, Rob, because you just dusted over it. I know. Have you read a dictionary in the course season?
I know.
You don't know what you thought it was a fish.
That was a car.
You thought it was a fish with teeth.
An outcast.
Yeah, I was. So I was shopping on a Saturday with my wife, and people coming up to me saying, "You're Robbie Savage." And I was saying, "Yeah, why aren't you playing today?"
Yeah.
And I couldn't say, well, I'm not good enough. It might be over. Honestly, man, I was going home. I was depressed. I argued with my wife. It was horrible. So then I go to Brighton. On loan. So, and Brighton, I think, paid £1,000 of my 24 grand a week wages to get me there so I could go and play. So Mickey Adams was manager. The chairman said, go and play for Brighton for a month. So I said, brilliant. Went to Brighton. And Brighton almost, I would say, going to Brighton almost saved my life, in a way.
Yeah.
Honestly, because you've gone from this people everybody knew, everybody loved to hate, pantomime villain, to I felt self-worthless, humiliated, like just completely rubbish.
Did you feel that your self-esteem took a hit?
Massively. Listen, yeah, massively.
Your identity was on threat.
Yeah, everything. And it was, football was being taken away from me through no lack of effort, through basically, I was rubbish, and I couldn't run, and all my game had to change, or I was finished at 33, 34. So I go to Brighton. So, to the point where the Withdean Stadium, I turned up in my white Lamborghini at the Withdean Stadium.
I bet they loved that, didn't they?
Exactly.
I bet they loved it.
Yeah. I pull up my
Park
first
next to
game.
Astras, Fiestas, Brighton players. On B-Reg.
Bear with me. So I turn up, the steward on the gate, I pull up in the white convertible Lamborghini, the Withdean car park's full. He said, "Oh, you must be Mr. Savage." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Where do I park?" He went, "Pull up on the curb over there." I said, "The curb? The car won't get up. It can't get up." I said, "You got any wood?" What do you mean? I said, "Well, I need to put the wood by the curb so the car can get up there." So anyway, it started a nightmare. Anyway,
Like my path, this.
I know. I know. So, get to Brighton. 6 games into my 7-game loan spell, I was rubbish for them. Went to Ellen Road with Brighton. We got beat 3-1. Fabian Delph absolutely run rings round me. He was a youngster coming through, and it was like I was humiliated.
Yeah.
What was I? What was happening to me? Anyway, to the point, the 6th game of my loan spell, I get taken off at half-time at the Withdean. Brighton are 2-0 down against Leicester. They win the game 3-2. So after the game, I got one more game of my loan spell, right?
Sorry. I shouldn't laugh.
I know. Mickey Adams pulls me and says, "Listen, mate, I can't play in the last game of your loan spell in League One."
Wow.
I went, wow, what has happened to me? I can't even now. A year ago, I'm captain of a Premier League side. Now, I can't even get a game in League One. So he said, "Listen," I said, "you've got to say I'm injured, because if I'm finished. If I go back to the lads at Derby, humiliated enough, going back to the train with the youth team, although I would try and inspire them, I'm worthless.
Yeah.
So we come up with a thing. I was injured. Went back. I'm injured. Anyway, now what do? I've gone to League One. I'm no good. Can't get a game in League One. The club don't want me. The fans hate me. I'm a mercenary. I'm taking all this money from the club. Did I feel bad about it? No, because they believed in me at the time. So why should I feel guilty of taking the money? Yeah. People say, well, give it back. You're not earning it, which is nonsense. Nobody would ever
Not
do
as if
that.
you're rubbing the noses in it, turning up in Lamborghini, is it?
But I still believe, Fred, do you know what? This is the thing. We'll go back to Alistair Cook.
Yeah.
I still, about comeback,
Yeah.
I still believe somewhere inside there was something there. And I knew, through all my career, I knew that I had to get every single ounce of ability, every drop of emotion to perform. And I knew it was there. And something inside you. So I go back. Anyway, chairman pulls me and said, listen, the manager obviously still doesn't want you. Can you go to Wrexham? Well, that's non-league. I said,
Wow.
Non-league. A year ago, I'm captain of the Premier League side. Now it's non-league football in the space of that short period of time. And I believed, because of the wage I was on, they wanted me off the wage bill.
Yeah.
But I did everything right. When I went in, you ask any of the youth team who was there at the time, I performed well, I inspired, I did everything right, I trained well. I didn't want to give the club an excuse to sack me, basically.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm now back at the club. The chairman's in the corridor. You bear in mind, Fred, I'm on one of the highest paid at the club. Brighton paid £1,000 a week to my wages. They didn't want me. I didn't go to Wrexham non-league, so now I'm stuck. This is it.
Where would you have parked in Wrexham?
At my mum's house. At my mum's. Anyway, Chairman sees me and says, Sav, what are we going to do? I said, I've got no idea. And this is gospel truth. He went, in front of people, Sav, right, do you know Anton Deck?
Anton
Deck, this is halfway through a season. Anton Deck. I said, why? He said, can you get yourself in the jungle for 3 months?
What? This is the chairman of the club?
Yeah.
Wow.
Honest to God, mate.
Wow.
So now I'm thinking, wow.
Playing for who?
What?
Is it who you're going to put?
So now you
I'd have gone to Wrexham.
So now I'm finished. Now I've gone from a Premier League club, captain, innit?
Yeah.
European football, to now the chairman saying, get yourself in the jungle to I'm a celebrity for 3 months. So now I'm thinking, this is it. I'm finished. There's no way back. This is me done. Finished. So anyway, I thought, right, anyway, Paul Jewell then gets relieved of his duties. Yeah?
Yep.
And Nigel Clough is getting the job. And what happens then, and it's true, when a manager goes into a club, they say it, they'll look at the whole squad and they'll judge them on your performances in training. So first and foremost then, Nigel come in. And listen, I owe Nigel so much to my life. What a great man. Honestly, my sanity, everything is to Nigel Clough, really. Honestly, it's true.
Yeah.
He then integrated me back into the first team squad, 25 training. And my performances in training were good enough to say, yeah, I'm going to get you back involved. Then I got back involved, yeah. Then he made me captain, through sheer hard work, determination, kept believing, made me captain. And then I went on to win the Club Player of the Year, the fans singing my name. So when you talk about comebacks...
How long after the low point did you reach that high point? Is that like 1 season later?
Probably 6 months later.
So
I've gone from worthless...
Amazing.
But what changed? Because you said you knew that you do something.
I knew.
But
so what
was holding you back?
So
what was it?
So what happened was in training, Fred, he seen that I would be a good number 6. So basically, because I couldn't get around the park as much as I used to, even though in all the bleep tests in pre-season I'd be top because I kept myself exceptionally fit. But in terms of the dynamism, I couldn't get there sharp.
Yeah.
But in terms of, if I had to do a cross country...
Endurance.
I was beating everybody on the bleep test. I was getting 18, 19 at 34, 35.
Was you?
Yeah, 18 and 19 at 34, 35.
Wow.
So my endurance was always there. It was just that sharp, dynamic movements. People saying my legs are gone. People saying he's a wrong one. So in the 6 month period of...
Who was saying that? Nobody's ever said that. Nobody has ever said that.
What?
You're a wrong one. Nobody's ever said that.
But you get that because they see the hair, they see everything.
Teeth, you're going to say teeth.
Yeah, they see the eyes, they see everything, right? They see the cars. So anyway.
They can't not do, can they?
No. So what Nigel Clough then done is he seen me as a number 6. He said, get the ball off the back 4 because I could pass the ball. I could keep things ticking over, use my experience. So in terms of comeback, I've gone from probably the most hated man in Derby with the fans, you're not fit to wear the shirt, to being offered to go in the jungle as the highest paid player at a football club, to then having the greatest comeback of all time in terms of my eyes. Just goes to show, never give up, keep believing. Because I knew.
How long did you play for after that?
Another 3 years. And he gave me another contract. Wow. And then at 37, I was nearly 37, I could have probably stayed and gone on the coaching staff. And do you know what the great man done? He might take this straight from his father. Because I was old and experienced, he knew I looked after myself. If I played well at the weekend, he would say, see you Friday. And he would give me that belief. And then he was amazing, mate. Honestly, and for my family, he was... Just goes to show how important family are. He said, go home, spend time with your kids and your family. He knew what I'd been through. And he almost not saved my life. Okay, you could say he did a little bit because he gave me that self-belief and that passion and that energy back. And then I finished then on my own terms. So in terms of comeback, to go from that to win the Player of the Year and be, now if I go to Derby, they love me, is massive. So
you said, but your life would have been very different now if that wouldn't have happened.
Massive,
so
yeah.
I
don't know what I would Fred, at 33, I don't think I could have done. I don't know if I'd have come into this job. I don't know what I would have done because in my head it would have been football's been taken away from me before I've taken football from me. I don't think I could ever accept that.